2/3 of Americans are at risk to experience blackout. You could be one of them, sitting in the dark and cold for hours, for days, maybe even weeks. Are you ready to protect your family? You could be with Patriot Power Solar Generator 2000X. Folks say this new solar generator from 4Patriots is worth its weight in gold. Why? Because this generator has double the capacity and is expandable so you can run the big appliances like your fridge even longer. Or other devices like an electric blanket, microwave, RV air conditioner, or even an electric wheelchair. You also get 12 outlets, including 4 AC outlets, so you can power more devices at once, and 2 USB-C outlets, which can charge your phone 20 times faster than a regular plug. Best of all, this new solar generator is fume-free, safe to use inside, and never needs gas, ever. Over 150,000 Americans trust Patriot Power generators. Go to 4patriots.com/VTTGW to get your solar generator now. You'll even get a solar panel included free.
Hey, what's going on, Mental Health Nation? How everybody doing today? We're going to get an early start. I'm kind of tired tonight, and so Lynn won't be joining us today. She's got to work. It happens. Life happens. So I hope everybody's doing great. I'm going to jump into a couple things tonight that I normally don't talk about because I just think they're important with all the crap going on in the world and everything else. But hey, before I jump into it, for Patriots, it's really important to be prepared. Spring's coming. You got spring storms, tornado stuff. I grew up in the Midwest. It's always good to be prepared. You just never know when something's going to happen because, undoubtedly it's going to. And I always say it's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. Military all taught us that, and as veterans, we know that. And also, Reads Across America Radio picked up my podcast, so they replay that at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. You just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app. Search for Reads Across America Radio, and they'll listen to all the great programs. I think they're like 50 podcasts now. This is their logo there, so you can see that, so you know what it looks like. And then also, we got Reads Across America Radio. We have the QR code up on the corner there where you can donate to ensure that, during the holidays that veterans who have passed on gets that wreath put on their tombstone. It's a super great, entity. I'm glad to be proud of them. What they do and what they ensure is really, really nice. I'm just proud to be part of that. It's kind of makes me feel good, and everything else. And also my mental health warrior book is still available on my website. You can just go to my website at cliffordbauman.com, and from there you can get it. I do still sign them, and I'll ship them to you from Italy. It just might take a little bit, but it's fine. But it's a FPO box, so the shipping's not going to be any more than if it was in the States. So it's all good. So hey, we got a lot of things going on. But this week, if you've been watching my mental health minutes, what have I been talking about? Keeping motivation when you're going through something. And that's a hard thing to do. And I get it. I've been there. I know what it's like. And so I've been talking about 7 steps. And I hit number 3 today. And then I'll hit the rest of the week. I did post all 7 on Monday. So if you saw my postings on Facebook and Instagram, I did put all 7 out there. I just kind of give everybody an idea. And you can go out there and look, or I can pull it up and we can recap it here. But on Monday I talked about, if your motivation is kind of waning or something's not going on, remember what motivated you to start with. And I think that's important. I think as you're going through recovery and going through a lot of things, just remembering why you decided to take that step. For me, it was coming out of the hospital after my suicide attempt. And, there you go. Chris just threw it up there. Thanks, Chris. So I started with remember what motivates you, because I think that's important, and yesterday I talked about, challenge yourself with a daily goal. So whatever that one day goal is, challenge yourself and do it. Just take care of it. And today I talked about motion that creates emotion. Get off your butt and make things happen. So easy just to sit around and, oh yeah, I got to do this, or I got to go to therapy. I need to go to the gym. I got to, do whatever. Got to get up and get going. You got to stay motivated with it. It's very important. And it's easy to fall into that trap especially when you're early on in your recovery or whatever even if you're recovering from injury, it's anything that you're recovering from. It's very hard to stay motivated. And one thing that's good about it is just like I talked about a minute ago, set a daily goal, but also keep moving. Don't sit around and talk about, oh, it worries me and blah, blah, blah. And then tomorrow, obviously, I'm going to talk about keep learning because that's very important. One thing that I've done this past couple of years is I've really got into holistic medicine. I got into the old ways and how they used to take care of ourselves of growing your own food, all the herbal medicines out there. I will caveat that I went off all my medications in coordination with my functional doctor. So it wasn't something that I did by myself. I had medical advice, and I advise anybody out there that once you start educating yourself on that stuff, if you're on certain medications, please talk to your medical provider first. I'm not a medical doctor. However, I did do a lot of research. I do a lot of things. And, one thing I've been able to do, and quite surprising, it's kind of hard to tell, but I've actually had my hair grow back with some of the stuff I've been doing. And so it's pretty incredible. And a lot of things that I've been doing are stuff that I did when I was a kid because we grew up on a farm and we literally lived off the land. We made our own jelly. We canned our own food. We made our own candles. We made the wax, when we canned our jelly, the wax cap for the top. We did all that and just kind of got away from that as we got older and kind of went back to it. But I think, one of the reasons why I don't get sick a lot, and I don't, is because of that. But also I think too is because I've continued trying to eat as healthy as I can. And now I know everybody's on a budget and you got a lot of things going on. But once you learn how to do it, and you can get away from the chemicals they put in food, you're going to feel a whole lot better about yourself. So keep learning. Whatever it is, pick a book, read it, read a couple of pages a day. You can always order the Mental Health Warrior and dive into that and read that book. But it's important to do. It's always important to put your cell phone down and read something. Or you can always try to play a new video game. I'm a big gamer. I like playing my PS5. I play it almost every single day. We have a PS4 set up too. My wife plays that. And so that's just something that we enjoy doing instead of sitting around watching TV at night. She's playing her PS4 and I'm playing the PS5 and Lloyd jumps in. And sometimes we sit and play board games. That's something that we haven't done for a while, but it's kind of fun when everybody plays with their phone and games on their phone. And we started playing board games. And so Lloyd wants to play Monopoly again. So we'll have to get that going again. But anyway, the next thing I'm going to talk about, tomorrow's Thursday, Friday, I'm going to talk about hanging out with superstars. And, that's so important because as you start going through recovery and as you start looking at things differently, some of your friends and some of the people in your circle may not really want to support you getting better. I posted a thing about not telling people your problems because 80% of them don't care and 20% of them are as happy that you have problems. And so be careful of your circle. Make sure that your friends and family and everybody's there to supporting you in your recovery. And because that's something that, I think, the old saying, misery loves company. And so if you're hanging out with winners or hanging out with more motivated people like yourself, it will make your recovery that much more better. And I know him before too long, Brian's going to get on and be upset because we started early, but that's okay. I'll talk to him later about that. And something here is something so important. And there's something that I had a hard time with is rewarding yourself. I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in our daily life and, and not not thinking about, I did a good job today. I should feel good about myself. Monday, I had a horrible day on Monday. My back was hurting. My nerves were just firing like crazy. It was giving me all kinds of anxiety, and I had to fight through it, and it was hard. But I did it. And then if you saw my little silly video I made on Instagram where I was taking these chocolate cookies I got from Spain and I was dipping them in Nutella and I was having a cup of coffee and then having a bottle of water. That was me rewarding myself because that's something I normally don't eat. But I tell you what, it was so good. And yes, I had some today. So hey, if you never tried it, it's a little thin chocolate cookies. You go out there on Instagram at Clifford Ballman, and you can check out the video I made of that. That was so Nutella's good. I mean, I'm sorry if you don't like Nutella, there's something wrong with you. Not just joking. But you should try Nutella if you haven't tried it. But it's so good. Yeah. Can you tell I like Nutella? I love Nutella. Hey, Nutella, if you're out there, you should sponsor me. But anyway, be sure and reward yourself, even if it's something small. Give yourself a pat on the back. I mean, come on, really. I mean, look at where you was at, and look at where you are now, and just know that you may not be as far as you thought you would be. But hey, what the heck? You're farther than what you was, and so give yourself a pat on the back and say, it's funny because I feel guilty about that, right? And sometimes I feel guilty about doing some of the most stupidest crap ever. Uh, like let's say I had a good day and I want to have a drink, and then I have to fight with myself mentally on whether or not I want to have a drink. I'm like, just have a drink, just relax, bro. Why are you being so wrapped up about stupid crap? And by drink, I don't mean alcohol. I mean just anything. And so it's really important to reward yourself and give yourself that kudos, and and make sure that you do have those supportive friends and you got that tight circle around you. Be with the Eagles, and that's very important. And then something that's really also important is to know that your motivation comes from internally inside of you, and it's you that has to decide: am I going to continue this path? Am I going to go back? How am I going to stay motivated? What am I going to have to do? And it's really hard, and I know this. When you're going through therapy and you're taking that hard look at yourself, right? Because here's the thing: you have to stop blaming other people for the shit that you're in right now, because you know what? It's probably your fault. Part of it, most of it, some of it. That's hard. That was hard for me to do, to take self blame and self responsibility, because I'm where I'm at because of the choices and the decisions that I made, not from everybody else. Now, they could have influenced it, but really, when you look at the hard tax, I had to accept the fact that, I wound up in the place that I was in because of me. And I had to accept the fact that I was flawed. And I don't like not being, I'm perfect. I'm not flawed. No, just joking. Warrant officers, we have that swagger. But I was watching a funny video. He was talking about the different ranks on how people get off work, and the E1 through E4 was getting in the car and they're like, oh God. And then they went up through the ranks, and then the last one was a warrant officer, and he said 1:30 on a Monday, and the warrant officer's driving. It's like, oh crap, it's Monday already? I forgot to go to work last week. I just thought that was funny. So it's out there on Instagram. I'm sure you can find it if you look around. But it's just 7 simple ways to try to keep yourself motivated. And when that motivation starts to go into the left, we got to pull it back right. And so these are just a couple of simple steps. I saw this slide and thought, wow, you know what? This is really good stuff, because it's really simple things that you can do, and it's really simple things that can help you stay on track, because it's so important. Nothing's never easy, and keeping yourself motivated and keeping yourself healthy and keeping yourself focused when all the noise around you, and there's a hell of a lot of noise going on. You guys know that in the world today, and it's just a lot. And when you're already dealing with a lot, it just adds an extra layer. And so, if you feel your motivation waning a little bit, I hope these 7 steps that I shared, and I'll continue to talk about on my mental health minute throughout the week, to give tips, because that's one thing I do here at the Mental Health Warriors. I talk about the hard stuff, and I talk about things that I've done or things that I think you could do, to make yourself a little bit healthier, maybe a little bit happier, maybe enjoy life a little bit better. I've been enjoying my time here in Italy so far. I've taken Italian classes. I suck at Italian. I'm going to suck at Italian for a long time, but I'm just going to keep doing it, because one day it'll click. It may take 6 months. It may take a while. The problem I run into is I learned German when I was younger, and German and Italian is nothing alike. What I'm finding out is that Spanish, which makes sense because Italy was colonized a lot by the Spanish and the Greeks and things over the millenniums, and So, a lot of the Spanish speakers that are in class, they pick up Italian very quickly. So I'm a little jealous of them. But it is what it is, and I'll get it down. And like I said, I've taken an easy Italian class they give for free here. They have like 3 classes. They have once a week, and I took it again. I did the 3 classes in 3 weeks' time, and then I went. They had like a 2-week break, and I asked if I could just take the same class again. It's repetitive, it's repeating, and I did. And I was teasing the people in class the other day when I went. I told them that I failed the test and I had to do it over again. They were like, "What?" There's no test. But it was kind of funny. I always rode the short bus and licked the glass when I was in school, but it's all good. And if you can't laugh at stuff, you can you laugh at. But hey, it's good fun, and like I said, it's. I tell you, if you ever get a chance to visit Italy, you ought to come. And I will tell you, don't come in the summertime when everybody else is coming. If you can come after the holidays in January and February, first of all, if you're in a cold weather climate, it's not cold here. I mean, the whole time I've been here since mid-December, the daytime temperature has never been below 55 degrees. And the nighttime temperature, I don't even think we've even had frost here since I've been here. It's usually in the 40s, 42, 45, but it's not cold. It's not cold like in the Midwest, that humid cold. It's not cold at all, actually. So it's pretty temperate weather. Of course, they got palm trees around everywhere, so it's not going to get too cold. But tickets, hotels, and everything's cheaper that time of the year. And then also in Italy, I'll give you travel tips today, so why not? 7 ways to stay motivated. I'm going to keep you learning about something. So in Italy, on the first, I think it's the first Sunday of the month, a lot of the museums and the Colosseum and things like that, you can go to for free. And we did that. We went on it's the first Sunday of the month, and you can look through it, and they'll tell you which ones are free, because some of them are, but most of them are, and you can go and visit them all for free, and that's kind of nice to do. Saves you a little bit of money to go and visit those monuments on free, but it's kind of cool. I was kind of surprised going and seeing the Colosseum. For one, I was surprised at the size of it. I thought it would be smaller, but it's pretty dang big. And then they had the multiple levels. Now I haven't gone to the lower levels. My brother's coming out. Yeah, thanks, Chris. That's fine. My brother's coming out in April, and I think we'll take a bigger tour of the Coliseum. Then. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. And so as you're going through recovery and as you're doing things, it's just important to do that. But in Italy you can't drive, throw a stick or something without seeing a lemon tree, orange tree. Of course, now all the apple trees are blooming, the cherry trees are blooming. I think it's strawberry season right now. And it's pretty incredible how fresh the vegetables and fruit is. It's like I grew it out of my garden. And you drive around here, where of course I'm in Naples. It's kind of the country part of Italy, and very beautiful, by the way. It's on the coast. I can see Mount Vesuvius every day, and the tomatoes out here are so good. I mean, they're just. It's hard to explain the different types of tomatoes. Now, I grew tomatoes in my garden, but because the soil's acidic, probably from all the eruptions from the volcanoes over the millenniums, has made that soil so rich that and even the lemons, because every morning I squeeze 1 lemon in water and I drink it because that cleanses my liver before I do anything. You can Google that, look it up, and then I also eat lemon seeds, and the lemon seeds are high in fiber. They have the same properties roughly as Motrin, and so that kind of helps with pain with me. And so that's the first thing I do in the morning is I squeeze a whole lemon in. The lemons out here are so acidic and it's so good, and it's pretty amazing. Something that I just started doing, I never done it before, and I've read about it over the years, and is oil pulling. And that's when you take coconut oil and about a teaspoon of it, and you swish it in your mouth, and it's a natural teeth whitener. It cleans your gums. It gets all the bacteria out. It helps with bad breath. It cleans out your lymph node. It does all kinds of things. You switch that around, but you can Google it, read up on it. I just started that. It's worked really well, and it's pretty amazing when you dive into the natural stuff. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to work, and but it's like here in Italy, right? So spring's happening here. It's been going on, everything's blooming and things. And so we found a local beekeeper, and we bought honey, last year's honey, but we got honey that he collected in the springtime, got honey that he collected in the summertime, got honey that he collected in the fall, and then he had, honey and eucalyptus that he had for the winter. And you say, well, why is that? Because if you take natural honey, unpasteurized honey from the area that you live in or the area that you're at, that helps with allergies. And so I take a teaspoon of it at night before I go to bed, and I give it to Lloyd. Takes it every morning, and we've haven't had any issues. I mean, a lot of people around us get sick and having issues, and knock on wood, we haven't had any. So it works. And so look into that. It's just something simple you can do. There's things you can do with honey. You can put, you can soak it in garlic. You can add onions to it to make a natural antibiotic. There's all kinds of things you can do with honey. But you might want to look into that. It might help you out some. The holistic way of doing stuff is pretty amazing. I'm hooked on it. And maybe I'll try to get a herbalist on the show to talk about it. That might be something good because it's so important to take good care of yourself. Because mentally, it's hard. And so I was reading because I read a lot because of my brain injury, and I'm not a big tea drinker. I used to drink Chinese tea a lot, and so I kind of got away from that. But I was watching some videos on how to rewire your brain. And it was interesting. So I was watching the what's her name? I just drew blood. Hang on, I'll bring her up. I'll remember her name here in a second. Her name's Barbara. Let's see. Do I still have her up on my phone? Because I listened to a lot of her videos. She's a naturalist doctor. She's very well known. But she was talking about, if you're having a lot of anxiety, eat a piece of Celtic salt, which that's the only salt we have in the house is Celtic salt. It's the most pure mineral salt that you can get. But she said, take a little bit of that, put on your tongue, let it swallow, drink some water, but then drink some chamomile tea because the chamomile tea has a calming effect on the body. She says over time, that'll help with anxiety. And so I think the next time that I get ramped up, I don't have any chamomile tea, but I think I'll buy some tomorrow and try it. I think it's Barbara Starr is her name. Let me bring up my Instagram here and I'll find it because I follow her on Instagram. Barbara O'Neill. Barbara O'Neill, that's her. This is what she looks like right here. Barbara O'Neill. But anyway, you got to look at her. I watch a lot of her videos. It's pretty amazing what she comes up with. A lot of stuff, like I said, we did as a kid growing up. But as you guys are watching this, I know we started kind of early, so my normal people aren't on. But I want to talk about something for a second. And so I was watching the news cycle today and kind of getting into it. And man, there's a lot of places that are a mess. You got Haiti that completely collapsed. They got prisoners and gangs running around. They're talking about a boatload of people invading Florida, so they're on edge. So anybody that's down in Florida, please take care of yourself. It's getting kind of crazy out there. We have the border crisis going on, and everything is just going on. And so then, with all this crap going on, suddenly Congress wants to ban TikTok. Now, I don't have TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I know there's issues with TikTok. And so they decided that, hey, instead of trying to fix all these real world problems, hey, Monica, how you doing? We're just going to ban TikTok. I don't get it. Now I get it. They're not banning TikTok. They want TikTok to separate from the parent company, which means somebody over here will probably buy into them. And TikTok may go away for a little bit. It'll come back. And And I get it, the Chinese are taking data, but they fly a balloon all over across the United States. So why is that any different? You didn't shoot that balloon down. So I don't know, that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm a big First Amendment guy. Same with the Second Amendment, and I just think that people can choose to have TikTok, and people can choose not to have TikTok. I don't have TikTok. That was my choice, but my son has TikTok, and friends have TikTok, but that's their choice to have TikTok. And I think if you want to have TikTok, great. If you don't want to have TikTok, don't have it. I don't know. But I do know that they're tracking and they're doing some other things with it. But to me, I just think there's a lot more important things that the Congress and Senate senators could have been doing other than doing the stupid thing with TikTok. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe off base. Just let me know in the comments if I was off base or not. But I just think there's a lot more important things, a lot more better problems that they could be dealing with right now than mess around with TikTok. Yeah, just my personal opinion. But hey, one thing about it is it's very important to keep yourself informed. It's very important to know what's going on around you. It's very important to understand that the world's not really too safe right now. It's kind of crazy, and there's a point to this conversation, and I'm going to get to that point here in a second. Is with you hearing all the bad news a lot on TV or on your X or Instagram or True Social or TikTok. That's another thing I read about, and I don't know if you guys heard this. So they came out and saying that just like with X, when Elon bought Twitter, made it X, that the traditional news media is going away, right? It's people don't really watch the news anymore. They get the news from social media. And TikTok has become so popular in disseminating news. Conspiracy theorists came out and said, well, that's one of the reasons they were trying to ban it was because like X, a lot of people go in there to get their news and they get a different version or not, they just don't got one source or a couple of sources to get news. They can get it from anywhere. And I just thought that was kind of interesting. There might be some truth to that. Who knows? I mean, look at all the things we found out once Elon bought Twitter that we never knew about. And now we know about all kinds of stuff. And so it's very interesting. I think freedom of press, I think having the ability to question things is very important. And it's just the same as I talk about, when you, with your medical care and you're talking to your doctor and your therapist and if you don't have a connection with that therapist, you're not really feeling it. A lot of people don't understand, especially inside the TRICARE system. You can ask for another therapist. I know when I was active duty, I thought I was stuck with whichever person that that assigned to me when I walked into the clinic, and that's not the case. You can absolutely change therapists, and I think it's important because when you're going through recovery and you're going through a lot of stuff, if you don't have that connection with that, with your therapist, with your life coach, with your MFLEC or whoever it is that you're seeing that you're talking to, chaplain, it's just not going to go. It's not going to be good for you, right? You're not going to open up. You're always going to have a little bit of a wall, maybe a little bit of chip on your shoulder. So it's just important to know and be educated about, things that you can do. I had an incident that happened to me today. So of course you guys know I got my book out, The Mental Health Warrior. And I was going to do a book signing at Fort Belvoir in Quantico prior to coming here, but I had to cancel them because I was coming here. And so I thought, well, I'll just do it at the NEX, here in Italy, Naples. And so I went in, I talked to the person there, and I dropped off my book. And, because, stand out in the lobby, we have the different vendors, and I had my book for sale and sign them as people buy them like I do at my speaking events. And so I handed it off last week, and I went back in today to follow up on it. And the guy's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I hate to tell you this, but we don't allow books in here. We don't allow book signings." I'm thinking, what? What bizarre world did I just walk into? And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's a policy, and just person so and so and whatever." They said, "No, we don't do books. We don't do that." And I'm thinking, but you do it in the States, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm a good warrant officer, right? Well, if you're telling me that it's a policy, You better be right, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to search for that policy and I'm going to find it. And if it's not a policy and it's not written up, I'm going to say something, because that's just who I am. Because I think my book can help people. I think people coming out here and living and being in a foreign country, a different language, if you're not prepared to drive out here, it's straight up crazy. I like it because I like the adrenaline rush from it. Um, but there may be other people out there with books. There might be other things out there that could help people. And so I didn't understand, but uh, I will find out, and I will question it, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to question things, and just like if you're going to the doctor and you don't think your treatment's right, or something's maybe needs to be done differently, or if you've had questions about medications they're putting you on or different things, you have a right to ask them. Don't be quiet. Ask them. And you have a right to question, a right to educate yourself on what medications they're putting you. I did that all the time, because there's some medications that I was hypersensitive to that some people, that 99.9% of the people in the United States can take it, but I was the 0.01% that couldn't. And so, you always have to question those kinds of things. And, it's very important. But I was just I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset. I was just like, okay, well, I took my book back and said, okay, well, give me the names of the two people who you talked to, because I got to have names. I'm not going to say their names, but I got their names. And I will do my research, and I will find out if there is a regulation against having books, being a vendor and selling books or signing books, outside of the NEX or the PX, here in Europe, or in the European sector. So that's what I'm going to be doing, probably just to see, and then I might shoot that person an email, try to get a meeting with them, to find out, because like I said, you never know. It could be other things out there to help other people's, and it might be something good to do. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of people having a lot of issues out there, both mental health wise. It's interesting. Is I forgot to be friends with this gentleman who was a waiter at the restaurant we eat at Kinja, and he wound up tearing his Achilles tendon, and so he's been home, recovering from that. And he's been very depressed lately, because now he's gone on 2 months without working, where it is a little bit different than America. And so he's not getting a paycheck. He's got a wife and 2 daughters, and luckily that he was had saved money up. But he's depleting his savings, and he can't work at least for another 30 days. And plus, he's kind of depressed because he's just sitting at home and can't do anything. And so I've been talking with him and kind of help keep him motivated through his recovery, because it's tough. I think sometimes we forget that there's safety nets inside the United States that other countries don't have, and really thankful for that. But he's doing better. He got his cast off yesterday, and so he's kind of got his walking boot on, but he can't walk yet. So he's going to get there. But it's interesting that it's funny how I never met a stranger. I'll talk to anybody, and he speaks English, pretty good. Okay. I speak no Italian, but I'm getting better at it. I'm starting to understand words and learning the months and the days. So it's a process, but it's nice to have a political debate with somebody who's never been to America. He's only seen it from the news, and really talk to them. He's about the same age as I am, about what their thoughts are in America. But not only that, I want to know what my thoughts are in Italy, because my preconceived notion about Italians and stuff, and kind of nothing bad. And he said nothing bad about America too, by the way. But like he said, and I think it's true some in America, he says, Italians are horrible with politics. We're terrible with it. And I think kind of we are too. I don't think we're too far from that. But, because most Italians, they just want to be left alone. Well, most Americans that way. And they don't like authority. They don't like being told to do what to do. That includes stop signs. And that includes yield signs. And that includes speed limit signs. And that includes a whole lot of things. And so when you're driving in Italy, when they say stop signs, a suggestion, yeah, you might as well not even be there. But I've been driving in DC for a while, so I could just kind of fit right in. But at least with Italians, you know what they're gonna do and not do. They're just not gonna do it. So it's quite fun. It's been quite the learning experience. But um, it's always interesting to make new friends. It's always good to get another view at something. And so, if you're kind of a lonely guy and you're not, making any friends out there or anything, go on the Veterans Trash. If you're a veteran, go on to VeteranTrashTalk.com, go on their Facebook page, their Instagram, their X page. Watch my show, watch their show, the fight night. They had a great fight night show, and the Veterans Trash Talk Hour on Saturday. There's no reason for you to be alone. Go make new friends. You got Lynn, my co-host. She does the Irreverent Warrior walks and hikes and everything. And there's so many things out there to be doing. Nobody should be suffering in silence or suffering alone nowadays. Get on social media, get somewhere, and go meet somebody new and hang out and learn something. It goes back to one other thing. It's like you need to do anything you can to keep your motivation on your recovery. So yeah, I circled that back around to it. But hey, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. It's late here. It's about 10:30. I'm getting kind of tired. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And just remember, you can rewatch my podcast on Reads Across America Radio. We replay it Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Super easy to find. Just download your favorite radio app, whether it's the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app. And you just search for Reach Across America Radio. Not only can you see my programming, but they have so many great programs on there. And then we have the QR code up there on the left that you can scan with your phone. It's like $5. You can donate to Reach Across America Radio, or Reach Across America, not radio, Reach Across America. You can donate for the wreaths. My area is still Arlington Cemetery. But, if they oversell Arlington, it does push out to all the cemeteries across the United States. They just don't do Arlington and the big ones. They do all veteran cemeteries. And so it's a very important program. And hey, if you got extra $5 laying around, be sure and donate for that. And also, we got the 4 Patriots up there. They got the survival food and the generators and just anything you need to be prepared, because, with all the stuff going on nowadays, you got spring coming on. It's always good to be prepared. You can use the code down there, VTT GW, to save money. I think it's like 10%. I may be wrong, but I think it is 10%. But also, you go out to VeteranTrashTalk.com. We got all of our great merch out there. Got my T-shirt. I don't know if I'm going to make a season 3 T-shirt. I made it for two seasons. I sell them, but I really don't sell them. I hand them out as I do speaking events and other stuff. But there's a lot of things going on in the world. Hey, please take care of yourselves. We are our brothers and sisters keeper. Spring is coming on. Suicide rates do go up in the spring. So, hey, if you got that buddy or that friend of yours that's kind of gone quiet or not saying thing, or maybe he changed his attitude a little bit, may not be suicidal. Maybe he's lacking motivation. Might need to motivate him. Doesn't have that bear behind him, getting the runner. You're never a runner until you got a bear behind you, then you become a runner. But hey, just watch out for each other. It's rough time of the year. Like I said, a lot of stuff going on. And, if you can help out a buddy or a friend, not with money, but you can help them out with, being there or talking to them, or, just being around, try and do that. It's very important. And hey, don't be alone this time of the year. Get out, go see stuff, say hi to people, get out of your comfort zone. I've done that a lot the last couple of years, and it's really had a very profound and positive effect on my life. But hey, everybody take care. Enjoy the rest of your week, and be sure to catch my mental health minutes. As I try to cover a topic that I feel that's important every week, and then I talk about it here on the podcast, because it's what I can do to try to help everybody. And I never want anybody to go down the path I went down. I don't want anybody to attempt suicide like I did. I just want everybody to live the best life they can be and do the best version of you. Take care and have a good night. It's been your mental health warrior.
This is a food warning. The UN warns of an unprecedented global hunger crisis. In fact, it's predicted by 2030 that 800 million folks will struggle to feed their families, which means 2 dangerous things for you. Number 1, higher prices at the grocery store. Number 2, less food available. And when panic strikes, it will be chaos, making it even harder to get the food your family needs to survive. That's why it's vital, more than ever, to have a survival food stockpile. Introducing the deluxe 3-month survival food kit from 4 Patriots. It has 688 servings of meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with delicious recipes like pancakes, mac and cheese, Aztec chili, and potato soup. They've even got spaghetti and lasagna. This isn't your typical survival food, and over 200,000 smart Americans agree. This is survival food that actually tastes good. But best of all, it's designed to last up to 25 years. You can stash it away and be confident that when a disaster strikes, you and your family will be ready. Go to 4patriots.com/VTT to get the deluxe 3-month survival food kit and the peace